I was trying to text my mom, he broke my arm, when my phone buzzed back from a number I didn't recognize. The message said, "Don't move. I'm coming." My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the phone. Blood was dripping from my nose onto the screen. I could hear Darnell in the bathroom, running water, probably washing my blood off his knuckles like he always did. Like this was normal. Like I deserved it. I stared at the message. Wrong number. Had to be. I'd been crying so hard I must have typed mom's number wrong. But whoever this was, they sounded like they knew. Like they could see me sitting here on our bedroom floor with my arm bent wrong and my ribs screaming every time I breathed. I typed back with my good hand. "Who is this?" 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, someone who doesn't let men like him breathe much longer. My heart stopped. The bathroom door opened. Darnell stepped out, drying his hands on a towel, his face calm like he didn't just break me 10 minutes ago. He smiled. That same smile that made me fall in love with him 3 years ago. That same smile that now made my skin crawl. "Hi, welcome to Heart Voice Stories. Thanks for watching. Kindly tell me what country you're watching from." "Baby," he said softly, walking toward me. "You know I didn't mean it. You pushed me, Nia. You know how I get." I locked my phone and shoved it under my thigh. My arm was on fire. I couldn't feel my fingers anymore. But I didn't cry. Not this time. Because something in that message made me feel something I hadn't felt in 2 years. Hope. Darnell crouched down in front of me, reaching for my face. I flinched. He sighed like I was the problem. "Let me see your arm," he said. "I'll take you to the hospital. We'll say you fell." "Okay." I nodded. I always nodded. But my phone buzzed again under my leg. I felt it. Darnell didn't. And I knew, whoever was on the other end of that text, they weren't going to let me fall again. What happens when a stranger becomes your only way out? Drop a comment if you think she should trust this message, or run. She didn't ask where I was bleeding from, she told me where I would bleed next if I moved. The message came through while Darnell was loading me into his car. He was being gentle now like he always was after. Tucking my hair behind my ear. Kissing my forehead. Whispering sorry into my skin like it was medicine. I checked my phone when he went around to the driver's side. The message said, "He's taking you to St. Mary's. Room 3 will be empty. Lock the door. Wait for me there." My blood went cold. How did they know? How did they know which hospital? How did they know he was taking me anywhere? I looked around the parking lot. Nothing. Just darkness in our apartment building and the sound of Darnell's keys jingling as he opened his door. I typed fast. "How do you know where I am?" The reply was instant. "Because I'm watching him. And if you don't do exactly what I say, you won't survive the week." Darnell slid into the driver's seat, smiling at me like we were going on a date. "Ready, baby?" I nodded. I couldn't speak. My throat was too tight. He reached over and squeezed my good hand. "I love you, Nia. You know that, right? I just lose control sometimes. But I'm getting better. I promise." I'd heard that promise 47 times. I counted. The drive to the hospital took 12 minutes. Darnell talked the whole way, explaining how we'd tell the doctors I slipped on the stairs. How I needed to stick to the story. How everything would be fine if I just stayed calm. But my phone kept buzzing in my lap. "Room 3. Don't forget. Tell him you need the bathroom. Go to room 3. If you trust him more than me, you'll be dead by morning." That last message made my stomach drop. Because part of me, the part that still remembered who I used to be before Darnell, knew it was true. We pulled up to the ER entrance. Darnell parked and came around to help me out, his hand firm on my back like he owned me. Inside, the lights were too bright. A nurse saw my arm and rushed over. Darnell started talking, smooth and calm, telling the story we rehearsed. But I wasn't listening. Because across the hall I saw it. Room 3. The door was cracked open. The lights were off inside. And I had to choose. Would you walk into that room? Or stay with the devil you know? Comment below. By the time he arrived, saving me was no longer the hardest part. I told Darnell I needed the bathroom. He didn't want to let me go alone, but the nurse insisted. Hospital policy. He kissed my forehead and told me to hurry back. I walked past the bathroom. Straight to room 3. My heart was hammering so hard I thought my ribs would crack. I pushed the door open. Darkness swallowed me whole. I stepped inside and locked it behind me. Then I waited. 1 minute. 2 minutes. My arm was throbbing. My vision was getting blurry. I thought maybe this was it. Maybe I'd been catfished by some psycho and now I was going to die in a hospital room instead of my apartment. But then the window opened. I didn't even know hospital windows could open. A man slid through like gravity didn't apply to him. Tall. Dark hair slicked back. Suit so clean it looked like he walked out of a magazine. But his eyes were cold. Empty. The kind of eyes that had seen people die and didn't blink. He looked at me. Then at my arm. Nia, he said. His voice was smooth, calm, like we'd known each other forever. How do you know my name? I know everything. He stepped closer. I backed up until I hit the wall. He stopped. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here because you sent a message meant for someone else. And that message saved your life. Who are you? He tilted his head. My name is Jin-Woo. And the man in the waiting room? He's been on my list for 6 months. My stomach flipped. Your list? Men who hurt women. Men who think they're untouchable. His eyes never left mine. Your boyfriend sold drugs for my competition. He owes them money. A lot of it. They sent someone to collect tonight. If I hadn't intercepted your text, you'd both be dead in your apartment right now. I couldn't breathe. You're lying. Am I? He pulled out his phone and showed me a photo. Darnell. Standing outside a warehouse I'd never seen. Shaking hands with men I didn't recognize. Another photo. Darnell counting cash on our kitchen table while I was at work. My legs gave out. I slid down the wall. Jin-Woo crouched in front of me. You have 2 choices, Nia. Go back out there with him and hope his enemies kill him before he kills you. Or let me handle this. Handle this how? His smile was thin. Dangerous. You don't want to know. Is she safer with a man who beats her, or a man who kills for a living? Drop your answer below. The people trained to protect me listened carefully, then told me to stay quiet. I didn't go back to Darnell that night. Jin-Woo made 1 phone call and suddenly I had a hospital bed, a cast on my arm, and a story that didn't include my boyfriend's fists. The doctor who treated me didn't ask questions. She just looked at Jin-Woo standing in the corner and worked faster. By morning I was discharged. Darnell was gone. Jin-Woo said he'd handled it. I didn't ask how. He drove me to a police station. Said I needed to file a report. Make it official. Protect myself legally before Darnell came looking. I thought the cops would help. I thought they'd arrest him. I thought wrong. The officer behind the desk was a white guy named Patterson. He looked bored before I even opened my mouth. I told him everything. Showed him my arm. Showed him the bruises on my ribs. Told him about the text. About Jin-Woo. About the drugs. Patterson leaned back in his chair. And where's your boyfriend now? I don't know. So you left the hospital without telling him? He broke my arm. But you don't have proof he did it on purpose. Patterson clicked his pen. Look, ma'am. Domestic cases are tricky. It's your word against his. And if he says you fell and you already told the ear doctor you fell. My throat closed up. I only said that because he made me. Can you prove that? I stared at him. He stared back. And I realized he didn't care. Jin-Woo stepped forward. His voice was ice. She has medical records. Photographs. A history of hospital visits. Patterson glanced at him. And you are? A witness. A witness to what? You weren't there when it happened. Patterson turned back to me. Miss, I can file a report. But unless he threatens you again or violates a restraining order, there's not much we can do. I felt my chest caving in. So I just wait until he kills me? Patterson shrugged. Get a restraining order. Keep your doors locked. Buy pepper spray. I stood up. I didn't say another word. I walked out of that station with tears burning my eyes and my good hand balled into a fist. Jin-Woo followed me to his car. He didn't say I told you so. He just opened the door for me and said, the system won't protect you, Nia. But I will. And for the first time in 3 years I believed someone. When the law fails you, do you break it to survive? Comment your truth. When the screaming stopped, the silence almost killed me. Jin-Woo took me to a place I didn't know existed. A penthouse in the city with floor-to-ceiling windows and furniture that looked like it cost more than my entire life. He said I'd be safe here. That Darnell wouldn't find me. I didn't argue. I had nowhere else to go. He set me up in a guest room with clean sheets and clothes that fit perfectly. I didn't ask how he knew my size. I was too tired to care. That first night I couldn't sleep. Every sound made me jump. Every shadow looked like Darnell. I kept checking my phone, waiting for him to call. To text. To show up banging on the door like he always did when I tried to leave before. But nothing came. Jin-Woo knocked softly around midnight. You awake? I opened the door. He was still in his suit, but his tie was loose now. He looked human. Almost. Can't sleep? He asked. I shook my head. He handed me a cup of tea. Drink this. It'll help. I took it. My hands were still shaking. Why are you helping me? He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. You really want to know? Yes. His jaw tightened. Because 5 years ago I couldn't save someone like you. And she died believing no one cared. The air left my lungs. Who was she? My sister. His voice cracked just enough for me to hear it. Her husband put her in the hospital 4 times. She called the cops 6 times. Filed 3 restraining orders. None of it mattered. He killed her on a Tuesday morning while she was making breakfast. Tears filled my eyes. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be alive. He pushed off the doorframe. I built everything I have so I'd never be powerless again. So when I got your text by accident, I knew it wasn't an accident. It was a second chance. I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded. He started to leave, then stopped. Nia. He's looking for you. Darnell. He's been calling your mom. Your friends. Your job. He knows you're gone and he's not going to stop. My stomach dropped. What do I do? Jin-Woo turned back and his eyes were darker than I'd ever seen them. You let me do what the law won't. What does that mean? He didn't answer. He just walked away. And that night I heard something I'll never forget. A scream. Distant. Muffled. Then nothing. Just silence. And somehow the silence was worse. When protecting yourself means someone else gets hurt, is it still wrong? Tell me what you do. He had the power to take everything from me, and that's why I trusted him. I didn't ask Jin-Woo about the scream. Part of me didn't want to know. The other part already knew and was just too scared to admit it. 3 days passed. I stayed in that penthouse like a ghost. Jin-Woo came and went. Sometimes he'd be gone for hours. Sometimes he'd sit across from me at breakfast and ask how I slept, like we were normal people living normal lives. But nothing about this was normal. On the 4th day he came home with blood on his knuckles. I was sitting by the window when he walked in. He didn't try to hide it. Just went straight to the kitchen sink and washed his hands like it was routine. I stood up. My heart was pounding. Jin-Woo. He turned off the water. Dried his hands. Looked at me with those empty eyes that somehow made me feel safe and terrified at the same time. He's not going to hurt you anymore, Nia? My breath caught. What did you do? What needed to be done? Is he dead? Jin-Woo walked toward me slowly. Stopped a few feet away. Do you want him to be? I opened my mouth. Closed it. Because the truth was sitting in my throat like poison and I didn't know if I should swallow it or spit it out. I don't know, I whispered. That's honest. He stepped closer. I didn't kill him. But I made sure he understands what happens if he ever says your name again. Tears blurred my vision. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. His voice was firm. Final. Because men like him don't stop, Nia. They don't learn. They don't change. They just find new victims. And I refuse to let you be another name I hear about on the news. I broke. I don't know why. Maybe it was because no one had ever fought for me before. Maybe it was because I finally felt like I mattered. But I cried. Art. And Jin-Woo didn't move. He just stood there and let me fall apart. When I finally looked up, he was still watching me. You're not a victim anymore, he said quietly. You're under my protection. And in my world, that means something. What does it mean? He tilted his head. It means anyone who touches you answers to me. And trust me, no one wants that. I believed him. God help me, I believed every word. Why me? I asked. Why do you care this much? His eyes softened. Just a little. Because you reminded me what I'm fighting for. Is it wrong to feel safe with someone dangerous? Drop your thoughts below. I knew he was back before I saw him because my body remembered the sound. 2 weeks passed. I started to feel normal again. My arm was healing. I could sleep without nightmares. Jin-Woo taught me how to defend myself. Basic moves, pressure points, how to break a grip. He said I needed to be ready for anything. I thought he was being paranoid. I was wrong. It happened on a Tuesday. Jin-Woo had a meeting across town. He didn't want to leave me alone, but I insisted. I told him I couldn't live in fear forever. He finally agreed but made me promise to keep my phone on me and all the doors locked. I was making lunch when I heard it. A key sliding into the front door lock. My entire body froze. That sound. I knew that sound. I'd heard it 1,000 times. The way he fumbled with his keys when he came home angry. The way the lock clicked right before everything went wrong. Darnell. The door opened. I dropped the knife I was holding. It clattered on the counter. My legs wouldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I could do was stare as he stepped inside like he owned the place. He looked worse than I remembered. thinner. His face was bruised. One eye was swollen shut. His lip was split. But his good eye found me immediately. And he smiled. "Baby," he said, his voice raspy. "I've been looking everywhere for you." "How did you?" "Followed one of his guys. Took me 3 days, but I found you." He limped toward me. I backed up until I hit the counter. "You thought you could leave me? You thought some rich pretty boy could protect you from me?" My hand fumbled for my phone. He saw it and laughed. "Go ahead. Call him. He's 30 minutes away." I checked. He was close now. Too close. I could smell the alcohol on his breath. "I'm not here to hurt you, Nia. I'm here to bring you home. I'm not going back." His face twisted. "Yes, you are." He grabbed my wrist, the one that was still healing, and squeezed. Pain shot up my arm. I screamed. "You belong to me," he hissed. "You think you're better than me now? You think you can just throw away 3 years like it meant nothing?" I tried to pull away. He squeezed harder. Then I remembered what Jin-Woo taught me. I stopped pulling. I stepped closer. And I drove my knee straight into his groin. Darnell dropped like a stone. But he wasn't alone. When your past breaks down the door, do you run, or fight back? Comment now. This time, I didn't wait to be rescued. Darnell was on the ground, gasping for air. But I heard footsteps behind him. Heavy. Multiple people. 2 men stepped through the door. Big. Mean-looking. They weren't here to talk. "Grab her," one of them said. I didn't think. I just ran. I bolted for the bedroom, slammed the door, and locked it. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold my phone. I called Jin-Woo. He picked up on the first ring. "Nia?" "He's here. Darnell's here." He brought people. The door exploded inward. Wood splintered everywhere. One of the men stepped through, his face blank, like breaking down doors was just another Tuesday for him. I screamed. Jin-Woo was yelling something through the phone, but I couldn't hear him anymore. The man grabbed me by my hair and dragged me out of the room. I clawed at his hands. Kick, bit. Everything Jin-Woo taught me went out the window because panic was louder than training. They dragged me into the living room. Darnell was standing now, bent over but standing. He looked at me with so much hate I thought it would burn me alive. "You embarrassed me," he said. "You made me look weak. Do you know what they did to me because of you? I didn't do anything to you." He slapped me so hard my ears rang. "You left me. You humiliated me. And now you're going to pay for it." One of the men pulled out a knife. And that's when something inside me snapped. I wasn't the same girl who sat on the floor with a broken arm and took it. I wasn't the same girl who believed love was supposed to hurt. I wasn't her anymore. I grabbed the lamp off the side table and swung it as hard as I could. It connected with the knife guy's head. He stumbled back. I didn't stop. I swung again. And again. Until he dropped. The second guy lunged at me. I ducked. He missed. I ran for the kitchen and grabbed the knife I'd dropped earlier. Darnell's eyes went wide. "Nia, baby, wait. Don't call me that." My voice didn't shake. My hands didn't shake. "You don't get to call me that ever again." He stepped back. "You won't do it. You're not like that. You made me like this." The front door crashed open. Jin-Woo stormed in with 4 men behind him. All of them armed. All of them ready. He saw me holding the knife. Saw Darnell backing away. Saw the man bleeding on the floor. He didn't ask questions. He just looked at Darnell and said, "Get out. Now. Or I'll let her finish what she started." Darnell ran. When you finally fight back, does it make you strong, or does it make you just like them? Answer below. Justice didn't come with applause, it came with doors closing forever. Jin-Woo's men cleaned up the penthouse like nothing happened. The blood. The broken door. The pieces of the lamp. Gone in 20 minutes. I sat on the couch, still holding the knife. I couldn't let go. My fingers were locked around the handle like it was the only thing keeping me alive. Jin-Woo crouched in front of me. Gently, he wrapped his hand around mine. "Nia. Let go." I looked at him. Really looked at him. "I almost killed him. But you didn't. I wanted to." "I know." He carefully took the knife from my hand and set it aside. "And that's okay." Tears spilled down my face. "How is that okay? What kind of person does that make me?" "Human." He sat beside me. "You defended yourself. That's not murder. That's survival." I buried my face in my hands. "He's never going to stop, is he?" Jin-Woo was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Not unless I make him." I looked up. "What are you going to do?" "What I should have done 2 weeks ago." He stood up and buttoned his jacket. "Darnell crossed a line today. He came into my home. Threaten someone under my protection. In my world, that's a death sentence. My stomach twisted. Jin-Woo, no. This isn't about revenge, Nia. It's about making sure you can sleep at night without wondering if he's coming back. His eyes were hard, cold. The warmth I'd seen earlier was gone. I gave him a warning. He ignored it. Now he pays the price. What price? He didn't answer. He just walked toward the door. I stood up. Wait. If you do this, I'm involved. If something happens to him, the police will come looking. They'll ask questions. They won't. Jin-Woo turned back. Because Darnell's going to disappear. No body. No evidence. Just gone. And when people ask where he went, you'll tell them the truth. You don't know. You left him. You moved on. That's it. That's not the truth. It's the only truth that keeps you safe. He stepped closer. Nia, listen to me. I've spent 5 years building an empire on protecting people the law won't protect. I don't do it for recognition. I don't do it for gratitude. I do it because someone has to. And right now, you need to trust that I know what I'm doing. I wanted to argue. I wanted to tell him there had to be another way. But deep down, I knew he was right. Darnell would never stop. Not on his own. Not unless someone made him. Jin-Woo left that night. I didn't hear from him for 3 days. When he finally came back, he didn't say a word. He just looked at me and nodded. And I knew Darnell was gone. When the monster is finally gone, do you feel free or guilty? Drop your truth. The first message was a mistake, but the last one was a choice. 6 months later, I was still living in Jin-Woo's penthouse. He said I could stay as long as I needed. That turned into weeks, then months, then something I didn't want to leave. We never talked about what happened to Darnell. The police came by once, asked if I knew where he was. I told them exactly what Jin-Woo said to say. I left him, I moved on, I don't know. They never came back. My arm healed. My ribs healed. But some things don't heal the same way bones do. I still flinched when doors opened too fast. Still woke up in the middle of the night checking locks. Still carried that knife Jin-Woo gave me everywhere I went. But I was alive. And for the first time in 3 years, I felt like I deserved to be. Jin-Woo changed too. He smiled more. Laughed at my jokes. Taught me how to cook Korean food even though I burned everything the first 10 times. He said I reminded him of his sister. Stubborn, strong, unwilling to stay broken. One night, we were sitting on the balcony watching the city lights when he said, I need to tell you something. My heart dropped. What? That text you sent. The one that started all of this. He pulled out his phone and showed me the number. It wasn't random. I stared at the screen. What do you mean? My sister's old number. I kept it active after she died. Couldn't let it go. His voice cracked. When your message came through, I thought I was losing my mind. Like she was reaching out from wherever she is. Telling me to save you the way I couldn't save her. Tears burned my eyes. Jin-Woo. You gave me a second chance, Nia. And I need you to know that protecting you wasn't just about stopping him. It was about proving to myself that her death wasn't for nothing. That I could use everything I built to actually save someone. I reached for his hand. He let me take it. You did save me, I whispered. In every way a person can be saved. He looked at me with those eyes that used to be empty but weren't anymore. So what now? Now. I smiled through my tears. Now I stop running. I stop hiding. I start living. And where do you want to live? I squeezed his hand. Wherever you are. He pulled me close. And for the first time since that wrong number text, I felt something I thought I'd lost forever. The first message was a mistake. But everything that came after? That was a choice. My choice. To fight. To survive. To trust someone who proved love doesn't have to hurt. Sometimes the wrong number is exactly the right person. If this story touched you, drop a heart below. Stay safe. Stay strong. You're worth fighting for.